What's up, Chris Hemsworth? How do you get this number? No. You got to talk to my agent. That's the only way you can reach me. Yep. Yeah, if you want me to play Hemdall and Thor, God and Thunder, you kind of have to, yeah, you got to talk to my publicist and my agent, and then we can talk from there. All right, get lost. Beat it. Welcome to the most overrated, underappreciated, most viewed, underviewed podcast of all time. Welcome to, you guessed it, the Prince of Fresh Air. This is your host, the most charismatic man in entertainment, aka the Mr. Tall Glass of Water. And I am welcomed and honored to have a friend by the name of Michael Mateo Rossi. That's right, he's a producer, director, and it's good to have you on the show, man.
It's good to be here, man. I'm happy to be here.
Now, on the very important side, let's talk about some pet peeves you have. You know, it's all about positivity, but let's be honest here. I'm sure you have some things that you hate. What are some things that you despise?
I despise on set people who come on set miserable every fucking day. Pardon my friend. All right, there was a crew member on the last couple ones. I'm not naming names. That this dude was just the most miserable person. That just like nothing. He came on set. By the way, we weren't working long ass hours. It was good, and it was just this negative energy that I just could not stand. Everything negative energy, nothing but problems, no solutions. And I hate that shit. I'm sorry, I hate that shit. Like dudes acting like we're in the fucking trenches and or in like 130-degree weather, pulling 20-hour shit. That's none of that stuff. So I just don't like that. I don't like that negative. I'm miserable all the time. All I do is bitch. I'm not about it. Nope. Get your ass out. Nope. So that's something. Sorry, no, I see you feel strongly about it. Another one, of course, is prima donnas coming in thinking that you're better than everybody else. An actor trying to direct the other actors. That's not your place. That's not your place at all. Yeah, just trying to kind of overtake just people knowing their roles. All right, we're all cool. But we all know our roles. So it's just like don't disrespect other people's positions or roles with just because you think that you're the best, and all that. Speak humbly with some of the shit, and it'll show sometimes more. So, that again, that stuff drives me nuts. It's like some people, and it's fine. Like for whatever reason, if they're coming on set and they're just hating the world the whole time, it's like, dude, no one's forcing you to be here. All right. If you're going to be a miserable fuck the whole damn time, why go somewhere else, bug somebody else, dude. So, with each film that I do, I keep a lot of the ones that I get along with. I like all that. And then you weed out the ones that for some reason it just isn't working. And then sometimes, you'll do one film and then bring somebody back from a few films ago. So it really depends. But those are the big ones for me that just drive me nuts.
I never understood that myself, the people who come to set miserable, because look, I don't care if it's a Marvel blockbuster or if it's a small student film. Just to have the opportunity to work and get cast in the production is alone just achievement many actors thrive for. Some actors can't even book work. And I always find it interesting that people will show up to set miserable, feel like they better than everybody else. And I've seen it, especially.
And we all have bad days. I get it. We all do. But when you're coming in consistently every single day, this is just who you are. Nah, dude, I don't want to deal with that.
This industry is all built off impression and your work ethic. So someone like Brad Pitt could get away with being like that, but you can't because you're not in that position where people know that you'll make them $100 million back from a movie. And I always tell people, especially actors, that you have to be respectful. You have to I respect the director, even the key grips. You know, you have to respect everybody because that's important. You know, I've met. You know, I remember last year before I moved to LA. I was working at a tennis camp, and I was talking to a guy, and I didn't know who he was. I was just, you know, helping him out, helping his son out, and he came and told me, he was like, "Yeah, you know, I'm a DP for Gotham and Law and Order." And he was like, "You know, I've been noticing, you know, your behavior and stuff." When we talked, and he said, "Well, you know, you're going to succeed because you have that positive attitude and stuff like that. You never know who you're going to meet. So definitely take that consideration that your image is everything in this business." You know, so.
And you know, even like, and I can tell you, I know we don't know each other that well, but you got good energy. You just got good energy. You come correct with things, and that's what it's about, man. It's actually not that difficult, yet you'd be surprised how many people are just, you know, people wonder sometimes why they don't work. Dude, stripped away, it's about relationships. It's about personal relationships, networking, just personal relationships. Why would if people are at the same equal talent level, pull somebody that's negative all the time versus somebody that is just chill and a little bit more positive and I can actually get along with? Simple, you know?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You know, I get that compliment all the time. It's just, you know, I've been through it all. I've been through the trenches, and my career is far from over. But you know, it's one of those things. When I was talking to my agent, he was like, he had to drop a few people because they had the attitude, they had that stuck up attitude, wouldn't go to auditions because they felt that he was too good for it. And it's like, you know, it mind boggles me. You're going to turn down, you know, a $20,000 check just because you don't feel like that.
Exactly.
It mind boggles me.
It makes no sense. Some of this stuff. It's just you know, actors turning down some stuff that it's like, dude, you don't know where that could take you. I mean, there must be a reason, but it's like, come on, man, you got to be smart about it.
Yeah.
You know?
So, let me ask you, because I know there's some mystique about it, and I had talked to a director in the last episode, but I want to get your opinion. What is some misconceptions or fallacies, if you will, that people have of directors and producers?
It's a good question. Man, that all directors are assholes, or just literally just like on a fucking cloud throwing lightning bolts down at them and just like literally thinking that they're all like pretentious fucks and just think that they know it all. No, we're learning too. I learn every set that I'm on, I learn something. And I'm an actor's director, so I love working with my actors, you know, just head on and just all that. Like, we're more approachable. I'm an actor where if excuse me, I'm a director where if an actor comes to me and says, "Hey Mike, like, do you mind if I try it this way, or can I give it a shot?" I'm all about it. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to freaking go nuts at you. Like, because you come respectful, you come asking about it. I do let a lot of my actors improv sometimes and ad lib within the limitations of the message and the story. I'm all about it. So basically, one of the biggest ones is, no, we're not all assholes. We're not all fucking assholes. So yeah, that's what I would say.
That's a interesting one, because I've seen a lot of people talk about that, and I just feel like obviously there's always going to be that director that's very you know, crazy. You know, you had the story of James Cameron on the Titanic set being you know, all over the place, but I feel like that's few and far between. I've encountered more polite directors than I have negative. It just be honestly, it really comes down to your energy and what you bring to the set, because directors usually feed off what energy you bring. If you bring positivity, you know, if they're in the deadline or something, they might just be a little more forceful, but they'll be willing to work with you. If you come on set acting like you're, you know, the Tom Cruise of the show, then you know you'll get that energy back. So I think that's a fair misconception, because I think it's one that's not overlooked, and I think the biggest problem is because a lot of directors don't talk about, you know, their perspectives. And that's not all, but you know, when you see someone like, you know, James Cameron always in the headline for being crazy, or you see John Fay for being all over the place, you kind of get the idea that that's how it is, but it's not. I mean, They're directing
And the thing is, you know, when you reach James Cameron's level, I mean, look, yeah, I've heard that too. He's pretty like rigid or he goes crazy, but like, look at the films he puts out there, though, man.
exactly.
That's the
Yeah,
thing. You even, I'll tell you something. Even people shitting on Michael Bay all the time, I get it. But first of all, the man makes films that make a shit ton of money, and as we
exactly.
know, look, I'm about the art first, but this is also a business. This is a big.
Mm-hmm.
This is numbers. This is people trying to make some paper. This is that. That's what it's about. Okay.
Right.
So, you know, look, he's got his thing down. He's got his thing down that, you know, if he's making it, he puts his name on that, stamped on there, it's gonna make a shitload of money. I'm sorry, it is. But you know, so it's all about that compromise. Sometimes that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the best athletes in the world, the best talent in the world, if they're a little bit cocky, you know, you can almost sometimes let it slide because it's like, fuck, dude, they really are some of the best. They are.
Yeah.
They earn that right a little bit. Now, you know, you do usually want people a little bit more humbled and centered, but hey, I mean, they are talented people, so
Yeah,
can't talk them too much. They're good.
they got the business, and that's something to I just want to quickly touch on. It's going to
Yeah,
tie to my next point.
yeah,
Is when you for people who
mhm,
are just starting out or you know are still in the work of their career,
yeah,
when you get to a certain point, like for me now, when I go on casting offices for uh HBO,
mhm,
Netflix, Amazon. It's all about I they want you to succeed as an actor, but it's also business. Like right now, it's all business. I'm not trying to be buddy buddy with everybody. Obviously, I want to, but
yeah,
it is a business. It's all about the overhead. It's all about how much money's coming in, and
yes,
I think that's why you see articles about these directors freaking out is because well when you got $100 million project on the line you have to make that return or your
yes,
career will suffer and I'm sure James Cameron and Michael Bay will bounce back from it easily but
right,
that's not for
right,
everybody so it's very important to understand from the director's perspective. I've I did directing at one point.
mhm,
It was kind of intertwined, director, producer,
yeah,
writer. But it's tough. It's hard, and a lot of people don't understand that. They just think you know directors take the glory from the actors, and I think that's one misconception.
yeah,
That directors take the glory from actors, but from my experience, and I watch a lot of interviews about this. As a director and producer yourself, you
yeah,
could probably attest to this
yeah,
if the film doesn't succeed, a lot of times, obviously, people might say the actors acting was trash, but a lot of it falls on the director, you know.
yeah,
And I've watched interviews, listened to interviews about that where, if your project ain't raking in the money that it was supposed to, then your career suffers. Not the act, sometimes the actors, but most of the time it's the director.
yeah.
Um,
It's it's almost like you're thinking. If we're given a sports analogy, sometimes the producers are the management, the company, the owners of it, and
right.
the director's kind of the coach. The director's the coach. The director coaches the players that are the actors. So yeah, I mean, if the team's screwing up, the coach is going to have a lot of the share to blame. They're going to be, and if it succeeds, likewise as well. So it's all about it. But yeah, I mean, the director's the captain of the ship, and we don't. Nobody wants it to sink. Nobody wants it to do anything like that. So yeah, I agree.
Now, let me ask you, because this is part, and this is something I'm still a little torn about or confused. What is the exact difference between the director and the producer? Because a lot of people don't know.
So director mostly does, first of all, works with the actors to get the best performances out in whatever the film is, and they're the ones responsible for basically creating the artistic vision, the vision of the script, and to do that. The producer is the one who's, and now again, there's many levels to producers: executive producer, co-producer, producer, associate producer, all that. But a producer, in general terms, to me, is somebody responsible for basically everything in terms of hiring crew, in terms of logistics, scheduling,
Ah,
basically supervising everything. They're the ones that a producer is not as quote unquote creative as the director is. They're the ones in charge of just everything. They're kind of the CEOs of the company. Whereas a director is more of on the ground floor, on the field, kind of organizing the creative part of it with the actors and all of that. That's at least what I think.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's a really, I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that either. So it's always been hard to separate the two.
Of course.
Now, just to start a little, not controversy, but which one do you prefer? Which hat do you like to wear?
Definitely director.
Director?
For me. That's easy. See, you thought you got me, not director. Because I love working with the actors, and I love working with my cinematographer, with just mapping it all out. Yeah, definitely. Because producing's tough. It's tough. It's all numbers, logistics, doing all that paperwork. It's tough. Directing, it's like you're there, you're on set, you're doing that. So yeah, definitely directing.
Director. Yeah, I know. I asked you that because Robert Downey Jr. called me and asked me to direct one of his movies. I was like, no, I'm kidding.
Oh shit! I'm like, damn, dude, look at that. I could be interviewing you right now.
Well, I'm a humble man. I've always been humble. I always will be humble.
I appreciate that. That's good though.
I try. I like to add some charisma to the performance. That's how I got the name.
You got me, man. I was believing that. I was definitely believing that. That would be something, But directing for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Obviously I was joking about that, but I'm in talks with Chris Hemsworth to do like this small film, and we was talking about that too, where you want to have a great direct. I'm joking again.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, dude. How much of that you got,
So let me ask you, as someone who, has been achieving some degree of success in your career, what is some advice that you would give future directors, producers, or, people who are acting and, looking for some insight?
I think, like kind of we covered a little bit, get on social media, network with people, reach out to people, and just make stuff. Just make, hustle, play 6 degrees of separation, see who's connected with who, and just go out there, and don't be discouraged if you get a no or you get a rejection or a pass or something like that. Don't let that sweat you. If this is what you want to do, you stick with it. But you network, you build those relationships, man. It's Hollywood or this business. It's kind of like an exclusive club a little bit.
Yeah.
Somebody, they're going to open the door for you, I mean, it's that type of thing. So it's building relationships. It's networking. That is so freaking important, man. It really is.
I want to touch on networking a little bit because that's very important, and people have to understand the difference between networking and harassing people. It's for me, because my buddy's uncle is Chris Messina, who's worked with Ben Affleck and done a bunch of films. But one of the things we talked about was the fact that a lot of people, it's a difference between trying to get to know somebody and trying to network them so they can get you opportunities. I only talk to him about acting. I don't talk to him about, hey, can you give me this movie? And that's very important. When you network, you want to make sure that it's a mutual respect and it's a mutual friendship. Because if you just, and I only bring that up because in a place like LA, unfortunately, you see this time and time again. And I watched a video about this last night where a lot of people just want to meet you or connect with you because you can get them further in their career. So don't fall in that category, because once people find out about that in this business, everything is word of mouth. You'll meet a director from Burbank who told the director from Hollywood. It all circulates. And that's very important. So definitely when you network, make sure it's about a genuine friendship, and then the business comes when they decide to, not when you decide to. Because
I posted about this a few months ago. I had an actor show up unannounced, parked in my place. And I'm serious. And there's some crazy shit, man. It's just I don't get why people would think that in any way that's gonna help you out. All right. Like, I don't know, but people are like that. It's just like it's common sense shit. Like, don't do something like that. Like, if the person, just build rapport. Like, even if you're not gonna be in, say, one film with the director or the producer, you never know, they could call you for the next one. Like, just
Exactly. Yeah.
chill. So it's like, don't burn any bridges like that. Don't show up to somebody's house unannounced and all that shit. Like, that really happened. That happened.
That's wild.
Really wild. And this dude drove from a while, and it's just like, don't do that shit. That shit's fucking, that's messed up in a lot of ways. It's like, dude, why? Why? You're doing nothing but hurting yourself doing that. And you're also creeping the person out. You know?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Completely unannounced, man. Completely unannounced. Didn't even let. Just showed up. Showed up.
What kind?
Parked in the property. All right, like, dude, that was some crazy shit, and that happened a couple months ago. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like, that's some crazy shit, but it does happen, and that's what I'll say. One other thing, like, you know, I really do feel bad for some of these people that, you know, really do have a shitload of followers, all that. Not only do they probably get some crazy messages and shit like that, but they probably get this type of thing all the damn time. And it's like, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. I mean, they're human beings. They might have a bigger platform, but it's like they got the same fears, wants, desires, happiness, sadness that we all got. So it's like, when you pull that type of shit, like, damn, I don't know.
Yeah, just reevaluate your priority. This business, especially when you start leaving it from actors to directors, producers, people notice that. And you know, I've been fortunate to go to the same casting offices quite a few times, and it's been a good report. They'd be like, "Hey, Percy, what's going on, man? It's good to have you back." You want to have that kind of report, because even if in this business, rejection is just 95% of the time. It's part of the life. And as you get further in your career, you're going to experience it, but you want to build that rapport naturally. So now, you know, I've only been here a year, but a lot of directors, obviously because of the hair, but a lot of casting directors know me because I come in positive. I give my, you know, I come in, do what I got to do, and I don't harass them. I don't stay around the audition, wait for them to come out the room and have a 5-hour chat. So you have to have that balance. I understand networking is important, but don't harass people, because you're only hurting yourself, you know. So
it's so true, man. It's so true. And no, dude, even when we just started talking, man, I mean, it was chill. Like, you know, we were just talking, like, there was none of this like crazy hounding type stuff. And I appreciated that, man. Like, that's how it should be. Like, don't be a fucking stalker, basically. I mean, it's that, like, don't do that, like, to anybody. I mean, to anybody, of course, but like in this business, like, there's a difference between being a little bit pleasantly persistent and then just going crazy.
Right. Oh, I didn't tell you. So it's gonna be $5,000 for this podcast. So I'm expecting payment.
That's right. Let me write out the check. Bust it out.
Oh yeah. Hey, rent is due, baby.
Exactly, dude. But yeah, man. I mean, it's common sense stuff, man. Just try to treat people with respect. And if you don't get along or agree with certain people, just don't be around them. You know, just we can choose who we're being around and who we associate with and who we work with.
Now, to wrap it, because, you know, it's a beautiful Saturday. I'm sure we both don't want to be sitting on a podcast talking all
no, this has been great though, man.
I try to make this fun.
I like this.
What is one thing from this pandemic? Because I feel like there has been a lot of negative stuff from this pandemic, but I think this pandemic has allowed, for me personally, it allowed me to shift my focus. I've always been into acting, but I realized, especially now with the industries closed, there's not a lot of opportunities. So now I do YouTube, I have the podcast, and my agents and stuff are amazed by it because I'm out here doing my own stuff. But for you, what have you took away from the pandemic, whether it's spiritually, professionally, personally? What is something that you took away?
I agree with you in the fact that it gives you almost more time to reevaluate things in your life in general, and it gives you almost weirdly more creative ways to think. All right, how can I occupy myself? How can I occupy myself creatively? Like, it's cool. Again, you saying your YouTube, your podcast, all that. That's freaking great, man. You didn't just sit down and be like, all right, let me wait another year or whatever the hell it may be. For things to just basically go back to normal. You stayed active. You stayed active, which I like. So for me, just been doing writing, just thinking, all right, how can I make films now in this period? And don't get me wrong, I think that we'll both agree. The minute, whenever it may be, I'm hoping it's sometime next year, maybe earlier, all that, when things really do go back to normal, it's going to be a massive relief. It's like we hopefully people won't take as much stuff for granted. That's the thing. Like, even just the simple stuff like going into stores, going into whatever, going to any type of freaking arena or concert or sports arena, whatever it may be. It's just like, man, that type of stuff we took for granted almost, and now it's just like, I don't know. It makes you more. I think it makes you more grateful for the stuff we had, and all that.
Yeah, I really hope people do take something positive out of this, because I feel like, especially as people in the business,
yes,
this has shown you never know when work is coming. Some people haven't even gotten an audition this whole time. So definitely, I feel like this has been a good time to reflect and really understand your goals, because a lot of people I've met, especially in LA, a lot of people move here, lose sight of their goal, and they just kind of get caught up in the emotions of everyday life, and they don't put their career first. So I think that's very important. If anything, people take away from this is definitely put your career first. Sometimes you might have to make sacrifices. You may not be able to party 3 times a week, but it's important. And I think the people who are looking for that one-hit wonder, that instant success, it's not happening, because this has shown ain't nobody getting famous right now. Nobody's getting.
I would say if it's just I think for me, because my film got into a few festivals, and it would have obviously been in person if it wasn't for all this. That one sucked. That one sucked because I'm old school. I love that in-person thing. You get the little red carpet with all your actors and crew. You get to take the pictures. You get to do all of that afterwards. You get to talk to your friends, colleagues, whatever after the film. Like, I do miss that. That's one of the best. I love going to stuff like that. I love going to the festivals, and especially if your film's getting screened there. I mean, that's amazing, man. Like, that's one of the best experiences for me. You're there with all people seeing it for the first time. It ends, you're hearing people clap. Then you go outside, you're taking pictures with everybody, and you're talking about the film with everybody. Then you maybe grab a drink or two afterwards. You grab some food. Like, who wouldn't want that, man? That's the best.
I never understood that. And then, like, the first feature film I did, it went crazy. I went to the screening for the first time, and I was like, I see why people enjoy it, because you get to not only is the whole crew and cast come together, but you get to share your story with other people. And I just found out another film I did just got accepted to like an LA festival, but obviously it's not in person. But man, that's an achievement a lot of people don't get to experience, and I think that's one thing that when this whole thing blows over, hopefully eventually next year, and the business come back, don't take everything for granted, like you said, because you never know when the work is coming. You never know when the work is going to dry up. And appreciate every opportunity, because I appreciate everybody from directors, writers to the people who work on the lights, the key grips.
Yep.
I appreciate everybody because I came in this business to be in it, not for the money. Obviously, the money helps, but
Right.
I came in it because I loved it. So I think a lot of people are starting to realize whether they love it or not. And but let's end this on a positive note.
Yeah,
Because it's been good.
It's
and I'm sure you got I got to call back Chris Hemsworth about something.
right.
But man, I'm glad I was able to have you, because I've followed you on Twitter for I think like a year now. And we never really talked before, but I figured this is a good time, especially now that I have the platform to talk. It'd be good to do that. So where people can watch your movies, find you on social media and stuff like that?
Well, again, Michael Mateo Rossi. Like I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, so you can find me on that. Just look up my name.
And IMDb, right?
And IMDb, yeah. Most of my films that are released are on Amazon Prime. So I recommend my film Chase. My film Chase is on a bunch of platforms, so you can check that one out. My film Shadows is going to be released probably in a few months, not released yet. That's probably my best film. And then The Handler's getting edited right now. But yeah, like Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, like all of that type of stuff. You can usually find it some other platforms. So yeah, man, and just I try to be approachable. So if you follow me, if you do all that, like you reach out, I'll say what's up. It's no problem.
All right, yeah. So that's a good way to wrap it. I'm still expecting that $5,000 payment.
Of course, man. I'll send it. It's already in the mail, dude. I'll get it.
Treat it as like a SAG, dude. You have to pay your union
course,
fee.
Right? Do that. No, but this was good, man. This was good, and it's always nice talking to fellow creatives about the business and about life, man.
Yeah, man. I miss that the most.
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep dragging it on, but that's very important to have those conversations, because although my podcast is more centered to starting conversations for controversial issues, I think I like to promote positivity. So this was a great segment in between all the stuff that's going on in this world, to just bring it right back down to the basic, which is what I love and what you love, which is acting and the business. So without further ado, let's wrap this up so the people don't go to sleep. Everybody know me at this point. If you watch it, you can follow me on Instagram at Mr. No Days Off Percy, Twitter at Mr. _ No Days Off. And yeah, this podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, pretty much any website you could, or podcast app you can find. And like I said, I got to call Scarlett Johansson. So what a better hand.
All of them, Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, the Russo brothers, all of that. Yep. Got everybody, huh?
We got to get the Avengers assembled again.
Totally. No, but this was great, man. And let's just keep that positive vibe going, man. That's what it's about,
Absolutely. And like I always say when I end it, a helping hand is a better hand. Thank you, Mike.
I agree. Thank you, man. Thank you. This is great. See you, man. Bye.